Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Hang Out with Coach Kerry. This is episode 46. Who'd have thought? 46 episodes, and you know you can see all of the past episodes at hangoutwithcoachkerry.com. Exactly what I've got right down here below. If you're watching this on video, you can see it's hangoutwithcoachkerry.com, and if you're listening to this on as an audio, Kerry is spelled Kerry. So every week I provide you with tips and strategies to help you be more successful in your business. Because I have a suspicion you're an entrepreneur, a service provider, you're maybe pulling your hair a little bit thinking, you know, what do I need to do to create success? And you've come across my episodes and now you want to know some, or at least you want to have some of your answers or your questions answered. And here is the right place to do it. I'm a veteran business strategist and business coach. I've been in the industry for almost 18 years, business coaching people just like you. And today I'm honored. I've got my VIP panelists here to share with you their information, but also to ask me some questions about our topic today. If you build it, will they come? So let's start with you, Bonnie. Bonnie, why don't you tell everyone who you are and a little bit about you?
Hi, thank you, Kerry. I'm Bonnie Mitchell. I am the owner of a design company called Mitchell Creative. So what I do is I help businesses all over the world increase their sales and revenue by creating a complete complement of effective and attractive marketing materials that support their brand. So this allows them to easily and effectively market to their clientele. And I can be found at www.bonniemitchell.ca.
Great. Thanks, Bonnie. And our next is Diana Galbraith. Dr. Diana, tell us about you.
Thank you, Kerry. I'm Dr. Diana Galbraith. My business is First Get Healthy, and what I do is I'm a retired physician, and I work with women who have invested so much time and energy into their business, their family, often at the expense of their own health. And so really what I do is I help them get back on track and get their health back to where they want it to be in very practical ways. And today I just want to remind people that if they want, they can sign up for my monthly newsletter at my website, which is www.onestgethealthy.com.
Excellent. That's great. And Grace, tell us about you.
Good morning, Kerry. So I'm Grace Gary. I'm a counsellor. My business is called Graceful Solutions, and I help people when they've hit a roadblock in life and they need help to get past that so they can reach their goals. The roadblock could be a breakup, it could be weight gain, it could be low self-esteem. And I have a 4-week course coming up in April, early April, Control Your Mind, Control Your Weight. So you can find me on gracefulsolutions.ca.
Great, excellent, thank you. And I just want to let everyone know we were talking about it. This is episode 46, and pretty soon it's going to be the birthday episode 52. So please watch and make sure that you see the notices about that, because it's going to be our birthday or 1-year anniversary episode, and we're going to have lots of fun. So anyway, let's get on to the meat of today, because the question is, if you build it, they will come. And you might have read that and said, well, how does that relate to me? And here's what I would say, is if you've started a business, or you're maybe even thinking of a business, and you have a great idea, and you're wondering maybe why you don't have the number of customers you need, that month after month you're struggling to have enough money to pay your bills, to pay your lifestyle. What's happened is your credit cards are maxed. You're stressed out. You're starting to think scarcity, sort of pulling in, not spending money, and you don't have enough clients to be able to keep your cash flow coming. So that's what today's episode's about, to try and help you figure out maybe one is a key piece that maybe somewhere along the way you missed. That the good news is you can do it now, and you can change things over, maybe not instantly, but you can make a shift in your business. It can take a right turn and start moving you in the right direction. So let's start off with Bonnie. What question what question came to mind when you heard this topic today?
Well, Kerry, it's definitely an expression that I've used before, build it and they will come. But can you expand on that and let me know what it is you mean in business sense with that?
Great. Well, if you build it, they will come was really the Field of Dreams. Great movie, and very inspirational. But the fact of the matter is that it's a very, very poor business concept. So let's take the person who's had an entrepreneurial moment and says, "Wow, I think I want to go into business for myself." So they're excited about it. Your mom likes the idea. Your friends like the idea. They're saying things like, "You would be good at that," or "I think that's a really good business idea." So maybe that's where you're at. Or you're in business now, and that's how you got started. And just because it's a good idea, from their perspective, doesn't mean it's a good idea. Maybe you jumped on a fad bandwagon. I know that a couple of years ago, there were a lot of people who were getting on the social media training bandwagon. And I'm not saying that, there are some really good people in this industry, in that industry, and they're doing really good work. But because it's a fad, or at least a trend, because there was this newness to it, how busy is the marketplace? How competitive is the marketplace? What's going to set you apart from your competition? So again, just because you've been good at something doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually going to be a good business idea. The other thing too is because if you're leaving your current situation because you hate the circumstances, you maybe don't like your boss, you don't like the working environment, or you don't like the money you're making or whatever, or you have restricted hours and you want to have freedom, let me tell you, the hard cold reality is that when you're in business for yourself, you will have significantly less freedom. The only time that you'll actually get freedom in this business is when you get to the point that whether you're working in the business or not, you've got income coming in, because you've got to keep working and working and working at it. And I know that all my three panelists will agree with me on that, because this is a situation where you are self-employed, and guess what? You're probably the marketing manager, you're the finance manager, you're doing all the sales, you're doing the IT, you're doing all the administration, and so guess what? It's going to take lots of hours to cover all of that off. So back to, what's the problem with the philosophy of if you build it, they will come, is that chances are you've got caught up in some reason or some motivation. You think something's a great idea, you've kind of concocted it in your head, and your friends and your family are saying, great, good idea, and you've launched your business. And so you might find yourself now, you're a year or two down the road and you're exhausted, your credit cards are maxed, you're working crazy hours, and you haven't kind of figured out what it is, what's that special sauce, so to speak, to be able to have that consistent cash flow over and over and over again, what I like to call that predictable income. And so that's the problem with that philosophy, is that it runs you into problems over and over and over again. And in fact, I would even say that for the person who's been in the business for a long time, and you see there's an opportunity to launch a new division or to make another offer in the marketplace. One of the things I see happen a lot is that we have a couple of our customers or clients say, well, if you did this, that'd be great. Or we see an opportunity in the marketplace that's there, and we immediately launch into it and then provide that as one of our offerings for what we do, and we haven't done the work in order to make sure that's actually a valid idea. Just because you've had a few requests doesn't mean that it's actually going to be an important piece to your business and create more cash flow. So be careful of that opportunity that you see there, and then again, you're going to get encouragement from people around you saying, oh yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea, and especially from people who don't have any kind of business experience. Because if they did, and I'm going to say successful business experience, they'd be asking you some important questions. So Bonnie, I suspect I answered that and more in the question you asked me. Diana, how about for you then? Where does that lead you to in terms of what are your next questions that you have?
Right. Well, say that you're a business owner who's caught in that kind of situation. That's where you're coming from. What would you say are the first essential steps to getting out of that?
Great question. And there is absolutely no premise for a business. I'm going to say that again. There's absolutely no premise or foundation for a business unless you do one of two things. You solve a problem or fill a need in the marketplace. Solve a problem, fill a need. There's only just those two things. And so you want to step back and ask yourself, what is the problem or what is the need I fill in the marketplace? First really important question. You do that when you're doing a business plan, so that's what for startups, or you do that when you're doing your strategic planning, whether that's annually, quarterly, maybe even monthly, just checking in, especially if you're testing something out. So question again, 2 questions. What problem do you solve, and or what need do you fill? Which is similar. It may not be a problem, but there's definitely a need for it in the marketplace. And I would say a question to ask yourself is, are my potential clients laying awake at night? Are they on the internet searching for problems? Is it what they're talking about to their friends and family? Because then they're going to be highly motivated to take an action. They're going to invest in your product or service if there's a problem or a need in the marketplace. So that's the very first one. And really that question is, how do you know the answer to that? Well, you have to do some research. You're going to go and you're going to do some work on Google. You're going to go out and you're going to test out. You're going to do some market research. One of my earlier episodes, I talked about something called a SWOT analysis, SWOTT. So what are your strengths and weaknesses? And your competition's strengths and weaknesses. What are the opportunities that are out there? So this is really identifying the opportunities. And are there other opportunities that maybe you're missing out in that? What are, I missed weaknesses. So strengths, weaknesses. What are your weaknesses? What might be your competition's weakness out there in the marketplace? What are the weaknesses in that particular market, possibly? Opportunities, talked about that one. Threats, so changes in the marketplace, anything that's happening. You look at a lot of local retailers, and one of their biggest challenges has been big box stores. So that was a threat to their business. And so they, if they were continually doing this analysis, would have said, what do we need to do differently in order to counter that? Well, then the second T, I like to say a SWOT with 2 T's, is trends. And one of the trends is the whole shop local. So where did that come from? That came from somebody saying, we've got a threat here. We're small mom and pop operations. We need, we can't do the high kind of volume for pricing. So what is it that can we do differently? Well, provide better service, maybe unique products that are not to be found in larger stores, and in addition to that, the whole sort of shop local, so supporting each other in business. So that was an opportunity to a threat, and then they saw that there was maybe a new trend out there, is that whole sort of shop local idea. So that was just an example of the kind of research. So that's how you would know. You can't, again, survey your friends and family as the only way. You've got to go out there and really look in the marketplace. Maybe even reach out to people in other cities that are doing what you're doing. If you're a local business and you talk about competition, look at that. Look at who your competition is and do some really in-depth research that's there. And then really the third question, so the first one was, problem or need that you solve. Well, actually, the second one is, who is your buyer? Getting really clear on who is your buyer. What is their, the demographic, the psychographic of them. Find out, what things they like to do, where they go, where they hang out, what kind of car they drive. Are they male or are they female? And narrow it down. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, and I've said this so many times, that sometimes we think that when we niche our market, what we're doing is we're eliminating a whole bunch of people out there that could use our service. But remember, the first question is, what problem or need do you solve? And they may not be aware that they need it. Just because you do doesn't mean that they do. So that's why you want to get really clear. And again, how do you know that that's your buyer? What kind of research are you going to do? And then the third question is, how will they know about you? Again, just because you build it doesn't mean they're going to come. You can have a beautiful business, but if no one knows where you are or what you offer, they're not going to come. If you have products or services, your expertise in the marketplace, and no one knows about you, then you're not going to sell any of your products or services. So again, what's going to be the plan to actually get yourself out into the marketplace? So many solo entrepreneurs and service providers think that they need to have a good business card and a good brochure. And now, Bonnie, I know you're going to agree with that. But if there's nobody, if they don't have anybody to give it to, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to make the phone to magically ring. It's not going to make the email, inbox get full on it. You need those materials, absolutely, but you need to know how you're going to get those into the marketplace and who is that buyer. So those are the top 3 questions that have to be asked, absolutely. And you can ask that as a startup. Those are questions that are part of a really good business plan, process, or you're going to do that in your strategic planning. Absolutely, you need to be asking yourself those questions all the time and redefining who your buyer is, because sometimes that can change. It may not be who you thought it was, and all of a sudden a new market shows up there, so then there's an opportunity. So you have to do some research on that and make sure it isn't just one person saying it's a good idea, but do some research on it. Boy, you can tell I'm a little enthusiastic about this whole idea, because I really, really see so many of you struggling with getting enough business. And these are the fundamentals that have to be in place in order to make sure that you have that cash flow that you want, that predictable income. And I know if you do this research and your answers all come up positive and you do the work, absolutely, you're gonna have that predictable income. So Grace, does that lead you to a couple of more questions for me then?
Well, first of all, I really love those questions, Kerry. They're very helpful to think about. What's the problem you solve? What need are you filling? Who's your customer, and how are they going to find out about you? So my question is: are there any other things that are key to that you can do to drill down?
Great, absolutely there are. So if you've identified who your buyer is, now you want to figure out: is there enough of them? Is there enough of the buyers out there in the marketplace that's actually going to sustain your business? You know who your competition is. You know how big the pie is, so to speak. So is there enough of them that you can carve out a section of that pie, and you know that you're going to be successful? I met a small business owner last week, and they knew exactly what their market share was. They knew what their competition was. They checked their numbers on a monthly basis, and they kept looking at what their market share was. What was their market share based on what was happening in the marketplace? And that those things are really important. So again, now you've identified who your buyer is, but are there enough of them? Are they such a small, narrow niche that maybe there isn't enough of them to sustain your business? Or there's a big marketplace there and there's lots of opportunity. I'm also going to throw in here that if you do your research, so let's say you're online or you're out doing other kinds of surveys, you can have people to do data research for you, and there's no one doing what you're doing at all, be cautious that you don't see that as being an incredible opportunity that's there. Because if no one's doing it, why aren't they doing it? What's the reason why someone stayed away from that marketplace? So I think that's a really good little piece I'm going to add in there as well. Be cautious that if no one else is doing it. Because the other piece too is that if no one's doing it and you can see that it's a trend, there's something called a bell curve. And I think everyone's probably pretty familiar with what a bell curve is. And that bell curve is about people's awareness. So if you're at the very, very front end of a trend, you're going to have to spend a lot of time and money educating people that they need what they don't actually know that they need. Or you're going to educate them that they have a problem that they don't even know can be solved by what you offer. So it's a really important piece to make sure that you know exactly where you are in that trend. So you might not be at that very, very beginning. Ideally, you want to be in that curve where there's enough awareness that there's enough other people out there that are doing it that's a good thing. Because what happens is that their marketing messages are going out and your potential buyers are actually seeing that there's, oh yeah, I've seen this all over the place. Maybe I do have this problem. Well, then maybe I do want to have it solved. And then be careful if you're at the top when you're in maintenance mode, because then what's going to set you apart in the marketplace? Let's take the coffee shop industry for an example. Starbucks, when they first started, were at the very front end of the trend. So there was a lot of marketing that was done to get people on that bandwagon of spending a lot more money on a cup of coffee and the atmosphere that they had. Well, now that's that has gone through the phase where there's lots of other people who have coffee shops. So that's gone that, and now it's in a maintenance mode. So if you were going to open up a coffee shop and doing your analysis, you would have to be very unique in the marketplace to set yourself apart from what other people are doing out there in the marketplace, and to have your customer switch brands. Because switching brands is another whole other step. If you want somebody to come to you over someone else, it has to be a compelling enough reason, and you're going to have to put a lot of time and money into the marketplace to convince them to do that. So again, question is, are there enough of them, and where am I in that trend is a really, really key piece to be looking at. And where is your competition in that market as well? And then again, as I said, what sets you apart? So there's those three pieces, sort of three more questions to ask. Are there enough customers out there? Where am I in that bell curve, and where's my competition? Where are we in that bell curve? So is there going to be enough of an industry, of a marketplace for it? And then what is going to set you apart from your competition? Why, if you've now educated people that you're out there and they know you're out there, how do they, why you over anybody else? And sometimes this is a hard piece. Sometimes you've got to survey your existing customers that you have. Sometimes you've got to do some, focus groups to find out what people see as being unique or different that you offer, and really narrowing that down. And then you can go out with your ideas in the marketplace. So if you've done all those, you've asked those 6 key questions, you know where you sit in the marketplace, then now you have a reason to be able to go out and do your marketing and create those customers, because you know who they are. You can speak directly to them with any marketing that you do. You're really clear about that problem or the need that they have. So all of your marketing messages are going to be resonating with them. And that's going to create that consistent purchasing over and over again of your products and your services, and create what? Predictable income. You have that. So, the sad fact is that 8 out of 10 startups fail. And if you're one of those watching this or listening to this today thinking, gee, should I go get a real job? Should I forget? The good news is, if you go through these steps and you become very intentional, very strategic about your business by answering these questions and then taking action, then you can make a difference. Because you know what the definition of insanity is, right? It's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And the level of thinking that you currently have right now about who your marketplace is, about business, about what business acumen is, has got you to where you are today. And the good news is, it's got you to where you are today. And the even better news is, you need some new higher level thinking, some new research, some new information in order for you to take things to another level, because you're hit by your own ceiling of knowledge that you have. And that's why, of course, I encourage you to come on and watch every Monday these episodes, or go back and listen to them on my website at hangoutwithcoachkerry.com. We have all of the videos that are there, and lots of other tips and resources as well. And of course, if you'd like to work with me one-on-one to help you flush out this stuff, that's an opportunity for you to be able to do as well. So I want to go back to my panelists now and just ask them for their key takeaways from today's session, because what they've taken away may just cement for you another piece of learning while you've listened to this episode as well. So Bonnie, why don't we start with you again, and why don't you share what you're taking away from today's episode?
Well, definitely what I'm taking away from today's episode is the be cautious if no one else is doing it. So, in business, we're always looking for that next trend, or we're looking for that niche that no one else is filling. And I think that's a good reminder for me to just ask that question a little more often than get all excited about an idea and plunge forth with it.
Great. And again, just because someone's not doing it doesn't mean that it isn't a good idea, just maybe at that front end of the bell curve. And then how much time and energy do you want to invest in educating people about that particular offering? So great takeaway. Dr. Diana, how about for you?
That was very, very good. I think the area that stood out for me is when you talked mostly at the end here about really knowing your marketplace and really understanding it. And that's, I think that's a bit of a challenge for those of us who are not necessarily market driven, more science or health or whatever our area of interest is. So it's just becoming educated and understanding a little bit more about how the marketplace works and making sure that we're in line with that.
Yeah, great, excellent. And in fact, I'm going to challenge all of my panelists and all of you listeners is to start looking at ads that are out there in the marketplace. And I'm not recommending you do ads, but it's a great way to do some research. And ask yourself, why did this particular ad catch my attention? What is it about that ad that caught my attention? So that's different than you looking at all of them. But what are the ones that catch your attention? Because chances are they've determined that you are their marketplace because they've said something in their ad that resonates and speaks to you about a need or problem that you have. So great, great clarity there, Dr. Diana. That would be really helpful, or that was really helpful for all of our audience, I'm sure. Thank you. And Grace, how about for you? What are you taking away from today?
I think the take home for me, Kerry, is the need to get up close to our customers and see what it is that's paining them. Not to be just vague about it, but to be very specific. What keeps them up at night? What makes them worried? And address our offerings and how we offer it to that, so that they feel that's me when they see our marketing or hear about us.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, there's a lot of noise out in the marketplace of lots of people that are offering people, you know, products and services. So why you? Well, if they feel that you get them, that you really understand their problem or their need, why would they go anywhere else? You know, people don't long to spend endless hours researching to solve a problem. They'd actually love it. Wouldn't you all just love for somebody to say, here's the solution right here, and you go, okay, that's great. So the sooner that they can find your message and that your message actually says what it is that that is their issue, their problem, or their need in the marketplace, they're more likely to hire you. So great episode today. I think we got some really good stuff here today. I'm really pleased with the information that or the questions you asked me and how that all came out. So again, thank you so much to all of my VIP panelists. So you can find out more about what I do at going to hangoutwithcoachkerry.com. You can also find me at Kerry Brown Coach on Facebook. That's my Facebook page. And you can find me on Google Plus at hangoutwithcoachkerry.com as well. And so please do come and join me, hang out with me in the various different places, and please let me inspire you to take your business to another level, to have the success that you dreamed of. That's my passion. That's my mission in life. And thank you for the opportunity to be able to share some of my wisdom today with you. So everybody, see you next week, 9 a.m. Pacific, same time, same station. See you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Kerry.
Bye, Kerry.
Thank you.